What's cracking, guys? Matric here. As you can see, I just went into Super Cheap Auto and grabbed the first mod for the Supra. It's probably the cheapest and most important one that you can get, and as you can see, it probably took me all of a minute and a half to go and get. I suggest that everyone goes and gets one, and of course it is the trusty fire extinguisher. Now, time and time again, you hear of people spending years, months building a car only to go for a nice cruise and have it end up in disaster, even to the point that a casual drive in the mountains can lead to fire that can potentially damage your car. Your car's your pride and joy, and for the sake of $39 I suggest you go and grab one. It's great insurance and easy to have. It's perfect for those little situations that may arise, and at the end of the day, it's better to have a car that you can repair than a car that is gone. So with that, we will cruise on home, jump into the shed, and we'll get to installing this first mod. Let's go install this extinguisher real quick. Rightio, jokes aside, don't tech screw your fire extinguisher into the floor of your car. You got fuel lines, brake lines and everything like that underneath there, and the last thing you want to be doing is a nice cheap install that's going to end up costing you hundreds. But all means, like, if you wanted to mount your fire extinguisher to the floor of your car, have a look at it, go underneath, make sure that you're not going to screw into anything. And they do nut inserts and stuff like that, so where you actually drill a hole and a little rivet nut style goes in, then you can put a bolt into it. You don't actually have to use a tech screw. It's much nicer, your floor's not going to rust out, and just double check that you're not going to puncture anything before you go ahead with it. So what I've chosen to do, I've actually opted to make a bracket out of stainless steel for it. I'm going to put a couple of dimples in it, make it look nice, so give it a little bit of an aesthetic look. And I'll come up with a little design on cardboard first. I'll put you on a time lapse and I'll see what I'll come up with. Looks like the rain's set in, so we might have to move upstairs where it's a little bit quieter. That's a little bit better, guys. I have finished the design and this is what I come up with. So what I've got is a little plate that will come across the seat rail there, and this will actually hold the fire extinguisher. I'll fold it up onto an angle. Once I can get back outside and actually find the angle that I want, I'll lock it in there, measure it up, and I'll be able to transfer it onto, I've got a bit of stainless steel that will go onto. Yeah, so I'll transfer this over onto the material that I'm using. I've chosen stainless steel. So what you want to do is just go down to your local engineering shop and hunt around in their scrap. They're pretty cruisy with that. I've come up with this piece, cost me about 20 bucks, and it's perfect for what you want, what you need. So I'll just head back down to the shed out in that rain, and I will throw a template on it and get it cutted. Rightio guys, got that all drawn up now. I've got my holes marked for the mounting points for the fire extinguisher and the actual bracket to the seat, and I've got 5 through the middle for my dimples. I'll throw these on a time lapse and I'll head back down to the shed and get to cutting this. Before you get to cutting, everyone will jump straight to a grinder and throw straight through it. You'll burn your discs out pretty quick. It's a hard grade material. So what you actually want to do is grab yourself a jigsaw, set it on a low speed with a metal bit and fine teeth. You'll chew through the material itself pretty quick and easy with that, and you've got a lot more control. So for my dimples, I'll be using a hole saw to set the inner circle for it. So why you do the inner circle is it actually allows the material room to move. Now while you're drilling through stainless, because it's hard, make sure you have plenty of lube. Get yourself some of that from Super Cheap as well. And nice and slow. If you've got a drill press, perfect. I'm still just going to be using a drill because I want to show you guys that you can do everything at home without having a big fancy workshop. Nice and slow, plenty of lube on it, and it'll chew through. Rightio guys, back from the shed. All holes drilled, cut out, it's looking nice. I did bend it and didn't film it by mistake. It proved to be a little bit of a nightmare trying to get it right and even without using a bender, so I just ripped down to work and bent it up. Then I could come back and bend it into the shape that I wanted it to sit closer. So what we'll do now is we'll go down and I'll show you how to dimple. Still coming up with the idea. I've got it there that I can use a transmission jack. I've just got to find something that I can pump up against without actually moving or lifting it, so a bench isn't really going to work. So I'm on the hunt for something solid. Alright, while I'm doing that, I've got a couple of decisions to make. I've got a test piece here that I've done a couple of dimples in already. What I did was I brushed it, so all I've done is just taken the material and a scourer and you just give it a slight scuffing and it gives a brushed effect. So what I also want to do is I've got the option of going like a burnt ring in the dimple or just leaving it standard, so I've got both there. I'm just going to take that time while we're doing those dimples to think about what I actually want it to look like. I'll give you a little demonstration of how the dimple works. Again, I've just made another one up at work. Took me 5 minutes to make. Perfect for you guys because you can get your hands on them quite easy. You don't need a big press, you don't need a nice dimple die set. These work quite fine. And when you get up into the higher stuff, there's a couple of tricks that you can use to do larger ones. I can show you that when I come around to, say, building a gusset for something. But what you want to do, so you take your drill bit, you drill through. What you want to do is just grab a socket. I've got a socket and a captive nut, and you'll just press away. So we'll use, I'll show you in a sec what we'll use. It just goes through and it actually leaves itself a nice little dimple. What I've made it out of is just a captive nut, and it had all the numbers on it and filing marks. So what I've done is just ground it down nice and smooth, made sure it was dome and perfect all the way around, and then all you want to do is grab a socket that it fits into nice and snug like that. Rightio guys, the rain seems to have settled down just a little bit. It's still overcast, so we're back down in the shed. Unfortunately I couldn't find anywhere to jack up against, so I come down in the shed, had a little play around. What I did find was the vise works pretty good, so what we'll do is we'll knock these dimples out with the vise and we'll get to that. This step is pretty simple. All you want to do is grab your sheet metal, your vise, your socket and your collective nut. Now what you want to do is your pre-drilled holes that you have, you want to make sure that the socket sits pretty central to that. That's one of the most important things. That way you get a nice even dimple all the way around. Just put your collective nut there and just with a little bit of elbow grease, it seems to press through just fine. We just go through real quick and I'll knock all the rest of these out. Nice and easy, just on the last one now. Pass that out now. With a little mini press, it's a lot easier. You can pick them up from super cheap as well. You can get them on special for about $100. I'll probably look at getting one for my shed in the next couple of months. I can't fold them, but this seems to work fine. But just I can see with a lot of the bigger stuff that I want to start doing, the little vise isn't going to be enough. Right, next little item I have is the riv nut. So what it does is it actually puts a nut insert into your sheet metal that you're working on. It's much better than using nut and bolt. So what it does is that you just pre-drill your holes. These little inserts, hard to see if it focuses. They go through your hole, and you use what kind of looks like a pot rivet gun. It pulls them through and actually pulls up on one side of it. Secures it onto the sheet metal there, and then you can wind your bolts into it, no problem at all. Rightio guys, we'll get to burning around the dimples, give it a nice little effect. I've cleaned it up with acetone and got rid of all the sticky stuff so we don't burn anything. Note to self, when drilling holes and putting riv nuts in, remove the plastic before you put the riv nut in so I don't have to burn it out later. Ignore the fry pan as well. I just don't want to fry it out on the bench. I'll throw these on another time lapse and we'll get into burning. Righto, so there we have it guys, all burnt. Just now I'll grab the Scotch Brite and we'll just give it that brushed look, and once that's done we'll be able to throw it together, throw it in the car and see how it looks. Take that out and we'll give it a dry off, and I'll go through and attach the fire extinguisher and the rest of the stuff. Rightio guys, so there you have it. Nice simple modification that only takes a day. It's probably one of the most important modifications to do to your car as soon as you get it. As we said at the start, there's too many cars that people sink way too much time and effort into only to burn or become irreparable because of a small fire that they couldn't get on top of when it first started. If you like what you've seen today, subscribe, comment, like, and I'll catch you later.